Chapter 11. Social Norms in Primal Fundraising. People like me make gifts like this. Werbe docent, exempla trahunt. Quote, words teach people, examples compel them. Latin proverb. It's simple. We want the donor to say yes. But how? How do we create the conditions that encourage that yes? Let's look at theory, experiment, and practice. Theory, the primal giving game. The primal giving game models the natural origins of giving. In the game, sustainable giving depends on community norms. In a reciprocal, sharing community, giving makes sense. Others become more likely to share with givers in the future. Givers benefit from their enhanced public reputation. Giving is a winning move. In a non-sharing or non-reciprocal community, giving does not make sense. Others do not become more likely to share. Givers get no benefit from their public reputation. Giving is a losing move. The right move depends on which world we are in. How can we tell the difference? It's complicated. In real life, there are many possible games and communities. People may be reciprocal in some, but not in others. Some gifts may help reputation, while others won't. We could try to test every alternative, but choosing wrong is costly. The smarter play is this. Follow the examples of others in your community. Examples are powerful, but examples of people like me are even more powerful. The key question is, what do people like me do? The answer shows the community norm. The community norm dictates the right move. Theory, the monomyth. Showing that people like me make gifts like this matches the primal giving game. It also matches the universal hero story, monomyth. It does so by linking the challenge with the full story cycle. That cycle is original identity links to challenge, links to victory, links to enhanced identity. Showing that people like me make gifts like this connects original identity to the challenge. Who is like me? The answer is personal. It's subjective. But whatever the answer is, it reveals my identity. If others like me accept a challenge, it links the challenge to my identity. It shows that I am the type of person who accepts challenges like this. I am the type of person who makes gifts like this. It also connects challenge to the victory. These other people also gave. They must have thought it was a good idea. They must have thought their gift would make a difference. That makes it easier for me to believe the same thing. It makes it easier to believe in the hope of victory. This helps link the challenge to a victory. It also helps link the victory to enhanced identity. These other people gave. They must have thought that the promised victory was important. This means two things. First, the victory likely benefits our shared group. Our group is a key source of my identity. Thus, the victory enhances this source of my identity. Second, other group members will likely appreciate my efforts to achieve this victory. After all, it was important enough to compel them to give too. This appreciation for my gift solidifies my standing within the group. The gift helps my group, and it helps my standing within the group. Both of these link the victory to an enhanced identity. We want the donor to say yes. That yes comes in response to a challenge. The effective challenge is part of the full story cycle. It must be rooted in the donor's original identity. It must promise a victory that delivers an enhanced identity. Showing that people like me make gifts like this helps. It helps link the challenge with the full story cycle. It helps make the challenge more compelling. It helps the donor move to a yes. It works. It works not only in games and myth, it also works in experiments. Experimental results. Other people. Others' examples can influence any type of helping. In experiments, they influence giving. They also influence volunteering. They can even influence stopping to help a person with car troubles. Others' charitable examples can make donating feel like the normal, expected, or default option. Such defaults can influence behavior. For example, describing a gift as an opt-out rather than an opt-in increases giving. Others' examples can be powerful, but this power increases when the examples are like me. If other people make gifts like this, that's informative. If people like me make gifts like this, that's compelling. One experiment in a law firm found a dramatic result, mentioning, quote, "Many of our customers like to leave a gift to charity in their will," close quote, more than tripled the share of people who chose to do so themselves. The story of Sarah. People like me. In one experiment, I compared the effects of two messages. One described how you could use a charitable gift annuity. The other was identical, except it described how Sarah had used a charitable gift annuity. This message worked better. People were more interested in making the gift after reading about Sarah. And then things got more interesting. In another test, I used identical language, but also showed a picture of Sarah. And the results got worse. The example became less persuasive. To learn more, I next tested 3 more pictures: younger Sarah, middle-aged Sarah, and older Sarah. The result? If the picture was close in age to the subject, it made the example more persuasive. If not, it made the example less persuasive. But further analysis revealed that this result actually wasn't about age. It was about identity. Statistically, age mattered only when it changed the answer to this question: how much do you identify with Sarah? She is a lot, somewhat, a little bit, not really, not at all, like me. If Sarah was like me, her example was powerful. Otherwise, it wasn't. Experimental results. People like me. People like me make gifts like this. It's a powerful fundraising message. Other experiments show this same result. One experiment used a public radio station pledge drive. New members calling in were told, "We had another member, he or she contributed $240. This example gift was larger than the typical gift. The use of he or she alternated randomly. What happened? When the he or she matched the caller's gender, average gifts were 1/3 larger than when it didn't. A single letter, S, made a big difference. In another experiment, students at a Swedish university were asked for a donation. They were randomly told the following. Group 1 was told nothing else. Group 2 was told that 73% of university students in Sweden made the gift when asked. Group 3 was told that 73% of university students at their university made the gift when asked. In the first group, 44% donated. In the second, 60% did. In the third, 79% did. As the example became more like the donor, giving increased. Another experiment used students at an Italian university. They were told, quote, on average, Italians, Germans, donated €70 to support this project, close quote. When the example was Italian, donations were nearly 50% greater than when it was German. Again, giving by People like me was more influential. This isn't just about age or gender or nationality. It's about identity. Researchers call this the identity congruency effect. When people like me make gifts like this, the examples are powerful. More results. People like me. These same types of results show up in many experiments with giving or volunteering. One lab experiment reported, quote, peer effects are positive, with subjects' donations increasing in those of lab mates and past subjects. However, subjects did not respond to gifts by an anonymous donor, close quote. This also arose in an experiment with professors. Results showed that professors' giving was influenced by another's initial donation amount, but not always. This happened only when the initial donor was revealed to be a member of their own department, a peer, or their department chair, a leader. Without this information, there was no significant response. Another study found that showing people data on how their giving compared with others of their same age, education, and region increased their subsequent charitable giving. A meta-analysis found a similar result. It reported, quote, this systematic literature review, 35 eligible studies, investigates how individuals' charitable giving is affected by the giving of others. It proposes a new mechanism of decision-making in charitable giving through an important psychological construct, similarity, close quote. If other people give, that's interesting. If people like me give, that's powerful. Experimental results. Make gifts like this. A socially relevant example creates a social norm. This tends to pull giving towards 2 points. 1, giving at the norm. 2, not giving at all. Why does this happen? Giving costs, but giving less than the norm still violates the norm. Thus, giving too little doesn't help reputation, but it still costs something. So it's a costly failure. It's a bad decision. Giving more than the norm could be acceptable, but the extra cost might be pointless. So the best options likely narrow to just 2, giving at the norm or not giving at all. These offsetting effects show up in experiments. For example, seeding a transparent donation box with large bills generates fewer but larger gifts. Seeding it with coins generates more but smaller gifts. Mentioning a large gift by another in an appeal letter raises average gift size, but it lowers the likelihood of giving. One UK study asked people to donate from a £10 payment. Adding this phrase, quote, did you know that other participants gave £5 and they said that participants such as yourself should give £5? Close quote, had offsetting effects. It increased the share of people giving £5, but it also increased the share who gave nothing. The likelihood of giving amounts other than £5 fell. Again, the social norm pushed giving towards 2 points, giving at the norm or not giving at all. For fundraising, the ideal example is a stretch gift. In one experiment, a phone-a-thon for a public radio station referenced another's gift. If the example was a bit larger than the donor's last gift, it tended to increase the donation. If smaller, it tended to decrease the donation. Examples from major gifts. These experiments show the power of others' examples in small gift decisions. But major gifts are rare. They're harder to test, yet the same answer emerges. How can we persuade an ultra-high net worth donor to give? By sharing examples of other people like me. Josh Birkholz explains, quote, You need to be branded as the type of place that other ultra-high net worth donors give to. How do we do that? One of the key ways is to really go beyond just showing what your organization's impact on the world is, but to actually demonstrate how specific donors have made an impact on the world. Close quote. The key information isn't just about the charity. It's about others who are like the donor. It's about showing that people like me make gifts like this. Similarly, a 2017 study of ultra-high net worth donors found, quote, nearly 60% report collaborating with other funders, close quote. In his interviews with mega gift donors, Gerald Panis shares, quote, people enjoy being part of the club, being associated with prominent men and women who are giving to the same cause, he says. And my interviewing bears this out. Very few donors enjoy the independent route, close quote. Examples from people like me work. But what if we don't already have mega donors to use as examples? There are still ways to provide aspirational examples. As president of Connecticut College, Claire Gaudiani massively expanded fundraising success. The college's endowment more than quadrupled. Her approach? Sharing donor stories from American history. She recommends, quote, show how the vision of a major donor can transform an institution, Mary Garrett at Johns Hopkins, or an entire city, Ken Dayton in Minneapolis, close quote. But she shares these stories in a special way. She begins them with a phrase like, quote, you remind me of, insert historical name. The donor responds with, who is that? She then shares the story of a donor whose gifts made a major impact. Because of this introduction, this isn't just an example. For the donor, it becomes an example of someone like me. Conclusion. People like me make gifts like this. It's a powerful message. It works in the primal giving game. It reveals a reciprocal sharing community norm. It works in the universal hero story cycle. It helps ground the challenge in the donor's original identity. It helps confirm the promised victory, delivering an enhanced identity. It works in lab experiments. It works in field experiments. It works in simple gifts. It works in complex planned gifts. It works in bequest gifts. It works in small dollar gifts. It works in major gifts. And most importantly, it works for people like you.